Welcome, and thank you for coming to this evening's Candidates Forum. I'm Liz Rotfeld, co-president of the Rye, Brook, and Portchester chapter of the League of Women Voters. Before we begin, may I please ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The League is nonpartisan. It neither supports nor opposes candidates. Our members are women and men from a wide variety of neighborhoods and political perspectives. And what we share in common is our dedication to encouraging the informed and active participation of people in our government at all levels. Your moderator for the Mayoral Candidate Forum is Susan Polos. Ms. Polos is a board member of the Northeast Westchester League of Women Voters. She is the middle school librarian at Greenwich Country Day School in Connecticut. Susan is active in the American Library Association. She and her husband Jim have lived in Katona for 40 years. Your timekeepers for this portion of the forum are Roz Lahr and Sean Parker. We thank them for being here tonight. At this time, I will turn the forum over to Ms. Polos.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Susan Polos, representing the League of Women Voters. It is my pleasure to assist you today. I am merely here to facilitate the process between you, the voters, and the candidates. You are here to listen to the candidates' views about significant issues in this community and to make your decisions. Please silence your cell phones, or better yet, turn them off. There are two candidates in the mayoral race. Incumbent Mayor Louis Marino, running on the Democrat line, and current trustee Bart Didden, running on the Republican and Conservative lines. To briefly review our format for this evening, each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening remarks. This will be followed by approximately 20 minutes of league-prepared questions, during which each candidate has 90 seconds to respond. Our timekeepers will give each candidate a 30-second warning with a yellow sign and finally the red stop sign when time is up. During this 20-minute period, audience members have the opportunity to submit their own questions. Please raise your hand and one of our volunteers will provide you with a pencil and a card and collect them when you are ready. Be sure to include your name on the card. Questions must address an issue and no personal attacks are permitted. Also, we try to make sure that the same question is not asked twice. So if multiple questions on the same topic are submitted, we will choose only one of that type. Following the league questions, we have allotted 10 minutes of audience question and answer time. And again, candidates will have 20 seconds to answer these questions. No rebuttals are permitted, but candidates can use any time remaining during their question responses or in their closing statements for any rebuttal comments. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. The only restrictions on candidate statements and answers are respect and civility. I reserve the authority to pause the proceedings to enforce the ground rules and the format. We will first have opening statements in the order of names that have been chosen from a bucket. The same order will be used for closing statements. Mr. Marino will begin with his opening statement.
Ready?
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luis Marino. I want to thank you, the League of Women Voters, for having this audit tonight. As the mayor of Portchester, I'm proud to reflect the progress and committed to having achieved as a community. My continued responsible leadership added me to work together, decided and made improvement in the village of Portchester. I have made dedication and certain financial stability. Portchester balance was growing up from 6.3 million in 2019, to 23.1 million as today. Allow us to invest in investment services projects benefit community. During the COVID challenger, work provides support, research to the residents in our business. I have an overseen hiring to the key employees in their village, planning, code, building, and legal. Ensuring the Portchester lead experienced, professional, dedicated village growing and My continuing security funded projects to lead the Travel Albany alongside the village manager and the trustee to advocate money. I'm presenting every board of trustee meeting, not by Zoom. I'm always in the public. And been healing decision, shape future, works closely with the fire department, police department, and public safety. And continue to improve quality of life, includes prepare sanitation instruction prevents $35 million we invest will continue to. One of the recent accomplishments we near completely is the bulkhead project is delivered to budget and head schedule. Continue to work, advocate, and ensure the Portchester remains a place for families and business to live. I want to finalize it saying the same thing again. I'm always here, engaging in the community by the present, not by Zoom, not in the meeting. Leave hands-on and listen to the residents directly working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Didden?
Thank you. Good evening. To the residents, those of you here in the attendance, I want to say thank you for coming along with the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. The upcoming mayoral election on March 18th presents a clear choice for the future of our village. It's a choice between two very different candidates, two very different visions, and two very different levels of commitment to serving you. I am Bart Didden, a lifelong resident of Portchester. I grew up here, raised my family here, built a successful multi-million-dollar business right here, headquartered in Portchester. For over 20 years, I've served as a trustee and chairman of Waterfront and on the Planning Commission, always striving to make our community stronger and more prosperous. My roots in Portchester run deep. My dedication to this village is unwavering. I believe the contrast will be evident within this hour. Leadership requires not just showing up, but listening to the concerns of residents and thinking outside of the box, engaging the trustees as well as the manager and professional staff to find real solutions and enact the agreed action immediately. I will bring the same work, full-time ethic that helped me build a thriving business to the job of leading the village, focused on results, accountability, and putting Portchester residents first. In my administration, all residents will be treated equally with dignity and without preconceived preferences. No one owns me. This election is about who you trust to represent your interests and fight for our community. I am proud to be Portchester's favorite son, a lifelong resident. I humbly ask you to vote for me so we can work together to build a brighter future. Tonight you will hear about the BOT has a team approach.
Thank you. The first question will be for you, Mr. Didden. What do you believe are the two most critical issues facing Portchester today? What specific policies or initiatives would you advocate to address them?
The two most important issues is certainty and stability. Certainty in the actions that we currently are taking to ensure viability of our infrastructure and our tax base. The village tax on our residences have gone down each year for the last 4 years, and that's because of smart development and foresight. And as leaders in this community, we have to maintain that focus and deliver the best opportunities to maintain our progress and keep moving the ball forward. I feel for the last 4 years, we've been sort of stagnant. We came off the form-based code, and we still have much more to do. So the other most important item, of course, is public safety. We have a police station that's been ruled obsolete by the New York State Department of Justice, and we have a fire department that needs more resources and more assistance. to help build it and maintain it. And I think that's the two most important items that we have, public safety and sustainability.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, the same question. Do you need it repeated, or do you?
Please. Thank you.
What do you believe are the two most critical issues facing Portchester today? What specific policies or initiatives would you advocate for to address them?
Thank you. We've been facing a lot of issues and been working really hard as a team. It's not to be an excellent mayor. It's not to be one of the best mayors or the smartest mayor. Remember, I've been in office, since I've been in office, I've been a dedicated person to our village. Right now, we focus, the bigger issue also is the parking. And we've been working, we put the money on the side to move forward with this project that's needed. Safety. I believe safety is one, and we're doing a tremendous job. This way, we have a great police department, also fire department. As they need it, obviously, they need a new facility, and I'm working as at the present time. Eventually, we get an announcement maybe before I leave office or if I stay, we're going to build a new police station. As I continue saying myself, is how do you work with your staff? I love the staff we have. We have a very good professional people in the staff and work together with the Board of Trustees. If you can work with the trustees, it's not worth it to be as a mayor. Mayor, they can make any decision by themselves. Always have to work together with the board and the village manager and the staff we had at the present time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This next question will start with you, Mr. Marino. What achievable solutions do you have for addressing parking and traffic congestion in the village?
Right. I will repeat myself again. That was the question before I answered early. We've been starting a few years back parking issue in our village. We've been looking at a couple of places we can build parking garage as needed. We've been correcting a lot of issues parking by the school. We had a numerous complaints. Olivia Street, all the schools been. Myself and the Board of Trustees, obviously, I don't do everything by myself. We got together, special thanks to Trustee DeRasio, who went to Albany, and we conserved that place, Washington, all those areas. We will have it designated parking for the staff, for the people who work in the school during the day. Again, we needed parking. I see these issues every day. Again, I will continue work hard. I put over $1 million in the site to build parking garage. When we sell a small piece of property, I didn't spend anywhere else the money. As you know, you can go back, see my record. I'm a very hard person to spending money. I don't like to spend the money. That's why we have it right now, I believe, $23 million in the bank we were going to spend. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
Please.
What achievable solutions do you have for addressing parking and traffic congestion in the village?
Well, I alone have been a voice for parking structures and parking solutions since the 2022 trustee election. We met as a board in a closed session relatively 6 weeks or 8 weeks after the election, and I proposed an initiative to address the parking situation. However, my opponent and a majority of the board refuses to spend money, and as he just said, you know, he takes pride in not spending money, but our infrastructure is failing. And if you don't invest what is $10 million in 2016 is now $18 million in 2026. We can't keep putting off reinvesting in our future. So, and the bulkhead is a perfect example. All the way back from 2010 when we both joined the Board of Trustees, Mr. Marino has been no on borrowing to fix the bulkhead. But once even over his no vote, the board passed a resolution to borrow, and that lined us up for millions and millions of dollars in grant money. So
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to interrupt myself right now just to let the audience know that this is a last call for your questions. If you do have any questions, if you need a piece of paper and a pen, raise your hand. Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Didden, the next question will go first to you. What are your priorities when it comes to budget allocation and spending? For example, do you advocate staying within the tax cap?
So when I first joined the board in 2010, in the first budget that we worked on, I cut $1.8 million in waste in our budget. Not one village employee was let go. In 2012, over objections from the Democrats on the board at the time, I cut another $800,000 from the budget. Again, more waste. Portchester no longer has a spending problem, but what it does have is between contracts for our valued municipal employees that get 2, 3, sometimes 4% annual increases because of inflation and society, what it costs to live here. You can't stay under the tax cap. Trustee Breakwood did a study, he's a mathematician, did a study that showed over 20 years, our average tax raise is 4%. It's better to raise taxes by 4% consistently year over year instead of where in the in the mid-2000s, that Board of Trustees actually raised your taxes 18% in one year and 22% the next year because we didn't have a fund balance that was sufficient for this village. You have to face the reality of living in New York State.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, same question. What are your priorities when it comes to budget allocation and spending? For example, do you advocate staying within the tax cap?
Absolutely. Thank you. My first few years, I was voting against tax cap, and then afterward, I realized that we break the tax cap a couple of times. But the trustee didn't and forgot. He's talking about when they cut the taxes, they cut the budget, we lay off employees. I don't know, how do you don't remember when we...
No one.
Can let me finish it?
Yep.
Yes, we did. We lost employee from the building department. You don't remember we brought them back? Thank you. How easy to forget. Now, I watch how I spend the money. And this is the reason we save money. I don't just blow it out of the window because I care about our residents. I care about our taxpayers. That's what the money comes from, right? It's like me. A decent, regular person work hard for the money, and they live by salary, by income, by social, by what they call, by retirement. There's no extra money coming to them, so they suffer. With that, I will watch how do we budget our departments, and I go it alone. I will not promise to cut employees. I will never do that, even if we have to cut it somewhere else, but I will never cut jobs in our village in Portchester. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go to you first, Mr. Marino. What is your stance on balancing new developments with the need for affordable housing, and how will you support small businesses and ensure that downtown Portchester remains a vibrant hub for residents and visitors?
Thank you. How can you balance? So right now, all the construction is going on. We have it coming 10% only. We fight for more. Our board members never agree and have it more. With that, we can change, make improve, because we need more affordable houses. We really need. We have regular people working here, low-income families. They can afford it. No matter how many buildings we build, with 10%, it's not going to help us. It's not going to solve the problem for our residents or for our village Portchester. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, same question. What is your stance on balancing new developments with the need for affordable housing, and how will you support small businesses and ensure that downtown Portchester remains a vibrant hub for residents and visitors?
Thank you. I just want to correct you. There was no layoffs in 2011 or 2012. You have to understand that here in Portchester, we have over 150 employees. We're always hiring new people. People come, people go, people retire. but there was no layoffs in those budget cuts. It was all waste. We have the 10% affordable set aside. The city of Yonkers, there was an effort there to raise it to 30%. The mayor there vetoed it because 30% is unsustainable. The builders said that we cannot come and build in Yonkers if we have to dedicate 30% to the affordable set aside. And the same thing will happen here in Portchester. We need this development because we need that to keep lowering your tax bill. That building on Westchester Avenue that's going up right now, last year paid $11,000 a year in village tax. When that building's finished, it's going to pay $458,000. You know where that difference goes? Some of it's going to go into the infrastructure and us, fixing up this village and the potholes in the streets. The rest goes back to the taxpayer in lowering your taxes. We will continue to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, this next question will go to you first. How would you balance growth with preserving the village's character? Do you support changing the form-based zoning laws to limit the height and size of buildings in the downtown area? What size height do you think is appropriate in the downtown?
This has been studied and studied and then studied again. The downtown area is a very unique, small little ecosystem. The character of this village is in the residential neighborhoods outside of the downtown. I fought and rezoned the CD4, which in the form-based code would have exploded density in our neighborhoods. The neighborhoods are our gems. I was able to convince this board to rezone those back to R2F to cut down on the possibility of density over explosion in the residential zones. As long as we protect the residential zones as 1 and 2 families and we step up code enforcement to get the density, the attics and basement apartments that are illegal, fire traps, and unsafe for human residency. Once we get those out, it'll also directly change the parking problem that we have in those zones, because if the people aren't there, the cars will not be there. So it's a holistic approach that is sustainable, and it'll also raise the property values in all of those neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, same question. How would you balance growth with preserving the village's character? Do you support changing the form-based zoning laws to limit the height and size of buildings in the downtown area? What size height do you think is appropriate in the downtown?
Thank you. I believe and I support is strong to look it over and cut the heights of the buildings. How do people forget so fast? The buildings across from the train station, before former Mayor Fritz Falenka left, they left 2, 3 stories of that building. And who voted against no? Louis Marino. The only guy in the board voted against it. Density, that building going up 2 or 3 stories more. How do you like that? How to forget so fast when they come in? Like I said, you don't have to be a genius to run a village because we have a wonderful staff. Common sense. Now we're talking about, and whatever decisions we make, we work CD 5, 4, and 6, is through the whole Board of Trustees and myself. It's not about one person. And one person, they can convince 6 people sitting in the board. I like to give a credit to the rest of the Board of Trustees, not just me. That's why I want to be a mayor, so I can run everything by myself. I don't need the rest of the board. Just do whatever you want, like you wanted to do, like you wanted to run the village. There's absolutely no need for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, this next question goes to you first. Now that we no longer have a local newspaper, how do you plan to maintain an open line of communication with the public so that everyone can be informed and engaged in local government decisions?
Thank you. We all miss Westmore News, obviously, when we had a lot of people complain also. So you can win here, both sides. A lot of the information goes to our website. And last time I heard Trustee Carbon, wants to buy a Westmore News. I hope so he can do, and we can continue to have our Westmore News. Right now, we promote any information comes out to the villages by phone and our website. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, the same question. Now that we no longer have a local newspaper, how do you plan to maintain an open line of communication with the public so that all can be informed and engaged in local government decisions?
First, I want to go back to the last question about cutting heights on these buildings. These buildings, when a developer comes in, they have to get so much amount of density in the building to make it worthwhile to build. It's like a cake mix. You can't take one egg out because it costs too much and still have a viable cake. It doesn't work that way. So we can study and we can, adopt all the niceties that the people want about lowering the heights, but if the buildings don't get built, you're not going to get that extra $440,000 that I referred to earlier. As far as the local newspaper, it is a tragedy that we don't have the Westmore News anymore. But at the same time, I'm running with a great guy, Richard Abel, because now he can run. But the website, the village website is key. I plan on proposing that we add a tab to that website for the obituaries, because that's the first thing I heard. How are we going to know who passed? What neighbors have we lost? We should put the obituary column on the village website. It'll also bring more people to the village website where they can get all the other news. The other thing is I asked Chairman Frank Ferrara of the IDA to investigate the IDA buying the Westmore News and use that as our official channel to promote the village of Portchester.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, we are now going to start the questions that have come from our audience. This is a question from Alex Payan. You will answer first. If elected, will you continue to support the Portchester Youth Bureau? Why or why not?
Oh, that's an easy question. The answer is yes. Our youth are our future, and we have to create programs and keep them engaged in the community. They're also tomorrow's leaders. That's simple. But my opponent here talked about, or tried to elude, I think, that
How you spell it wrong?
that I'm going to run the village? No, I'm running with 5 other people who are vibrant, enthusiastic, and passionate. And we've had numerous calls and numerous discussions in person, and they are fantastic. And we bat around all of these issues, everything that's happening around the village, and it's a consortium. And when you, as a leader, can bring the people around you that are better than you and foster that environment of the kind of discussions we've had, is how I know that I'm ready to be the mayor of this village to bring that leadership to our community.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, the same question. If elected, will you continue to support the Portchester Youth Bureau? Why or why not?
Absolutely. I've been the first one to support since day one from the rest of the board. And obviously, when with you the last time in one of the meetings when the Youth Bureau had it? Oh, I forgot. You never make anything. So even we had an interview last week. It was only 3 persons came from the board. People busy, I understand, and they care about our village. I will support it 100%. I will still do it. I go every function. I go every meeting. When they go, I was going to go with the kids to the trip to Washington, but I make it. So how do we keep forgetting so fast? You get along with the board of trustees and the mayor. Well, rest in peace, former Dennis Pilla. I don't want to mention his name. They made a life so miserable. I'm not going to say who. Go back in the tapes and the videos. It's unbelievable. You don't need leadership as a mayor. Obviously, they had to start a little bit. You have the whole staff, the employees and the rest of the board members. I'm a mayor, open mayor. They let everyone to come up to the table, bring the suggestions, and we move forward. I'm not the type of mayor on my chest said, this is what I did, this is what I want, move forward, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely not. I work with the rest of the boards. I will plan to work the same. If you get elected, nothing is going to change. The leadership is there.
Thank you. You'll take this next question first, Mr. Marino. Where do you think the water tower should go? Is the bottom of Fox Island the correct place? This is a question from David Matthews.
Can you repeat that again? I missed
Sure.
it.
Where do you think the water tower should go? Is the bottom of Fox Island the correct place?
Well, again, when it comes to my table and my attention, I will have to make a decision. If it does the right place, I don't have no problem. Remember, I don't make any decisions by myself. The mayor never does, unless the previous mayors, when I was not in the board, 1950, 1960, when the village was run the way for one guy, right? He was the mayor, he was in charge of everyone. I don't. Whatever comes to discussion, I have to discuss with the rest of the board. And whatever the board decides, I move it along. It's not about me. I can make my own decision. But I will support any decision the board takes and myself.
Thank you, Mr. Didden. Same question. Where do you think the water tower
My
should go?
last name is Marino.
Excuse me?
You said, thank you, Mr. Didden. My last name is Marino.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was meaning to say thank you, and now Mr. Didden.
Thank you.
Where do you think the water tower should go? Is the bottom of Fox Island the correct place?
I don't think the bottom of Fox Island is the best location, but I just want to go back to Mr. Marino's comment about 3 people interviewed for, 3 trustees came to interview for the Youth Bureau position. We can only get together in 3s without having a public notice in a meeting. So and you know this as well as anybody because you always enforce the rule. It's one of the things that you do. And as far as, talking about mayors from the 50s and 60s, that's before there was a village referendum that we switched in the late 70s to a strong manager form of government. The mayor used to run this village, but not since the late 1970s.
Thank you.
As far as the water tower, that's an engineering question. Is the bottom of Fox Island the right place? I don't think so, because how do you put the water tower at the lowest point of the village? Right now, our water system and reservoirs and towers are above the village, and we have a gravity-type system that is supplemented with pumps. Those tanks on the top of Summit Avenue, that's how you get the water pressure in your house. It's not by a tank in Fox Island. So that's a question for the engineers, but logically, it just does not seem to be the best alternative.
Thank you. Mr. Didden, this is the last question. It will go first to you. What is the status on staffing and training of the fire department? Are they ready to address disasters?
Our fire department is the strongest volunteer fire department in Westchester County, certainly one of the strongest in lower New York State. New York State is staffed and protected by a majority of volunteer fire departments across this whole state, as well as across the nation. Our department is underfunded for training. We need to pay our volunteers the federal minimum wage when they attend training programs. If they need to travel to those programs, we should pay for that. If they need to stay over somewhere, we should pay for that. If they have to stay somewhere, we should give them a per diem for meals and expenses. We don't currently do that. We say that the money's there, but it's just not formalized and it's just not managed in the proper method. We have over 90 interior-rated firefighters. That's more than the city of White Plains has. Our people are capable and trained, and they train and they practice all the time. And I believe in our volunteers, and I do not see going back to a combination department anytime in my future here in the village.
Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Marino, same question. What is the status on staffing and training of the fire department, and are they ready to address disasters? This is from Marilyn Brumbush, by the way.
Thank you. Our fire department is in good shape, economic-wise. It's not underfunded. We have over 90 interior firefighters. I'm talking as a firefighter, 27 years, a volunteer, serving our village. And I'm still active. I'm still going to my trainings with the rest of the brothers and sisters. Great fire department, dedication, they do for free. The money's there, like Trustee Didden say, but when it comes to do it, we're not afraid to pay for the expenses where they go take a class or training. We will support them 100%, and we never touch his budget. We never cut it a nickel out of his budget. Great fire department. I'm speaking for experience. I'm still volunteer. I'm a still active member, driver for Mellon Engine Hose, and I will continue until I die. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marino, it's time now for your closing statement. You have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Again, thank you for hosting tonight. This is great. It's so sad, so disappointing how people forget things so fast. You know, again, I would like to the residents, the community, to come out, support myself or the rest of the board. I have a great board members running for me, and they wanted nothing but the best for the village. I have a trustee, DeRazio, John, Sylvia, Nancy, great persons, great residents, very involved, especially my deputy mayor. Phil, if I win, we're still going to keep working. We're going to go to Albany, fight for our rights, to fight to get money. That's what we did. We went to Albany to bring money to fix our gymnasium next door. That's going to start working pretty soon. Again, you got to have time to run this village, no matter if you're not the leader. You got to come out. I go to everywhere, every place. I do my best. Believe me, I'm not the perfect guy, but my heart, my dedication is in the right place. I'm a mayor for everyone. I don't discriminate anyone. I really care about this village, and I will continue work. If I don't get elected, I will still do my duties as a firefighter in my heart to the community. I don't see anybody else besides a couple of board members, trustees, in any activities. How do you want to run the village? Well, it's easy now. You know, you have it by phone, by Zoom. It's easy. You don't have to be here. It's pretty much. Again, thank you. I would like to support March 18, come out and vote. And let's move the right direction as we're doing. Again, I'm a mayor from the village, from the people, and I work with my team. It's not about Louis Marino. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Marino.
Thank
And
you.
now, Mr. Didden, you have 2 minutes for a closing statement.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who came out tonight and thank the people of the Village of Portchester for considering my candidacy. Tonight, we've heard again about how the BOT has been a team approach in the last administration. However, I feel it's been without a coach, manager, or captain of the team. The job of the mayor, in my view, is guiding and influencing others toward a common vision or goal. No one person can make a decision, but leadership to get to the decision in a timely manner. So many times we've put decisions off. Let's extend that public hearing to get more public comment. And nobody shows up. And we delay and we delay and we kick the can down the road. I think tonight the contrast has been clear between my business experience, my company budget, annual operating budget is 20% of the village. I have 80 employees that rely on me to put my signature on the front of their check every week. It's an awesome responsibility. I have over 10 years in the fire department as well. And I want to enforce and share with you that being on the Board of Trustees That board, since we went to a strong manager form of government, is a policy-setting board. Trustees should, and the mayor shouldn't be camped out here in Village Hall every afternoon, sitting in the manager's office, interfering with their operations. The manager brings problems to us, we debate it, we investigate it, and we find the solution and we implement it into our policy, and we stay out of their hair. That's what being a mayor is, leading the team.
Thank you. Serving the public in any Serving the public in any elected capacity is a noble and laudable calling. Being a candidate takes courage, commitment, and a dedication to the common good. I would like to thank both of you, both of the candidates, for their participation this evening. Thank you to the League of Women Voters and to this community. This concludes the mayoral forum, and Liz Rotfield will now introduce the moderator for the trustee forum.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please excuse our housekeeping issues. At this time, if I can have the trustee candidates to this area of the room. Thank you.